This is Teachers Talk Radio, and you are listening live.
So, I'm back in my hotel room after a fantastic day at the CST conference, day one. I'm here with Welby, who are a fantastic company. Mark Solomons is the CEO. Welby, I mean, essentially, they're looking to reduce workload for teachers. That's the main mission they have. And they do that through a range of means. I suppose the main one being the ability for leaders to survey and analyze what their staff are feeling, thinking, saying, the things that staff want to be actioned within an organization. So it's been great to kind of work with Mark today and Caroline as well, who is the customer experience director at Welby. So it's been great to work with both of them. And in the meantime, I've been kind of running around creating this podcast, and I didn't intend to be able to interview as many people as I did. I think I interviewed 20 academy CEOs and school leaders today. So I'm tired. It's like 10:18 and it feels like it's 3 a.m, but that's besides the point. And it was interesting, you know, I asked them the questions that I asked school leaders in my school leader interviews, which are on YouTube, which I did, the last series 3 that I did last year. I mean, they're all on YouTube, but the questions that I asked were the same ones. Now, interestingly, there were some trends. For example, when I asked them the thing they couldn't stand, like the trait they couldn't stand in others, I think 6 or 7 said negativity. Now, it's interesting. I challenged them and I said, well, what about toxic positivity? You know, which is worse, negativity or toxic positivity? What they meant was like people who moan but then don't have any kind of action to go with it. Like, okay, here's a problem and here's a possible solution. So that was the clarification. I mean, one thing I always worry about is toxic positivity. I think, it's something that I think is prevalent in education. So that was interesting to hear that. I mean, it's interesting just to hear their inspirational people. We had everyone from Nelson Mandela to mum and dad, you know. It was interesting. And the biggest thing I have to say from meeting all these guys, and I know academy CEOs get a lot of stick at times for various reasons. And really, the word that came to mind today was humanity. There was a lot of humanity from everyone I spoke to. Really friendly, you know, all were willing to kind of be honest in these interviews that I conducted today, which were really just a bit of fun. But nevertheless, you know, people gave up their time, and it was really fun for me actually to be able to do it today. And that's why I've come back to the hotel room. I've stitched this together as a podcast just because I thought it was worth it. You know, I wanted people to be able to listen to this. Now, obviously, it might feel a bit of a scramble. You're going to hear a series of interviews that I conducted throughout the day in association with Welby. You're going to hear all the interviews. I hope you enjoy them. There's a lot of kind of banter in between questions and so on, but you get the gist. And you might hear a few TTR jingles in between the interviews. And yeah, I hope you enjoy them. The first interview that you're going to hear is with Hugh Greenway, Nick McKenzie and Steve Taylor, who are all academy CEOs. And following on from that, you're going to hear from lots more head teachers and CEOs at various points who I interviewed throughout the day. For example, you've got Kate Floyd and Des Bird. You've got James Till. You've got Yvonne Keenwan, David, Liam and Gary as well. And you're going to hear a series of interviews with all of them. So sit back, enjoy, and thank you. See you tomorrow, day 2.
Welcome to Teachers Talk Radio coverage of the CST conference in Birmingham. Joined now by Hugh Greenway, Nick McKenzie and Steve Taylor. very quickly, gents, do you want to do like any more introduction than that, or are you just happy with your names? No? Well, I'm going to ask, this is what we're doing all day. I'm asking leaders 10 questions. Most of them are quirky, to find out a little bit more about them, and maybe we'll throw in a semi-education question at the end. Okay, question 1. First thing you grab in the morning?
Phone. Coffee cup.
Who is your biggest inspiration in life?
My wife, I think, really boringly.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
That's quite nice, though.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Kenny Dalglish. Oh, forgot. I'm an Everton fan, so you can just clear off now. What do you think people notice about you?
Well, since we've been meeting in person, perhaps I'm slightly taller than they thought.
Well, actually, you've stolen my gag. That I've got legs. And yeah, like the rest of the society.
I was going to say I'm not 6 foot.
There we go. Nice. What do you hope people notice about you?
That I listen to this. That I listen to them.
You listen to me, and I approached you at random.
Thanks.
So that proves the point. Your hope has been achieved.
That we're prepared to take a risk, Tom, and come with you for these questions that we're not prepared to answer.
Biggest weakness or fatal flaw?
Ooh.
That we're prepared to take a risk, Tom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see,
Without adequate
Yeah.
segregation.
see.
Biggest weakness or fatal flaw? Giving people too many chances to fail.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I'm learning it. Steve. Steve. By the way, listeners, Steve's just run off. If you hear a car screeching, it's his car going into third gear. But yeah, okay,
Nick's
next.
been very quiet here.
Nick's being very quiet.
I was just enjoying this because you two have just got 2 sides of the same coin, I think.
Biggest strength? See, they're going to be quick to answer this one now.
Patience.
Patience.
I think passion and commitment to education, frankly, from the beginning, and I think I've still got that. So the fire burns.
How do you think you maintain that? How do you think you keep that? There's a lot of people lose it, to be honest.
I don't know. Do a lot of people lose it? Some people lose it.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah, I'm used to spending time with people that have absolutely still got it.
Yeah.
And they go into schools and
Yeah.
it reignites and reinvigorates them. And it reminds them of the reasons why they came in. And there's plenty of us still around that have been around for long enough to say, no, I've never regretted coming into education. It's always been the gift that gives for me, personally. So, I get an awful lot of satisfaction from the work.
I like that. Another tricky one. I think we should come over to Nick for this one. Nick, one personality trait that you don't have any time for?
Ego.
Ego.
Yeah, drives me mad. So yeah, that'll be
That's it. Done that?
We're on the radio, so I have to be polite, don't I? So the polite version of this is people who don't let a complete ignorance of the facts stand between them and a really strongly held opinion.
It's a good one.
Yeah, bigotry probably. Sorry, I'll cut to the chase.
I've got you. Cool. Don't worry, we've only got, I think, 2 more left. You're saying thank God.
And we're being filmed at the same time.
Yeah, that was
Apparently,
weird.
yeah.
It's all right. We haven't signed any disclaimers yet.
Yeah.
Caroline Cortland-Smith is filming us.
Comfortable silence or non-stop conversation? Which do you prefer? Comfortable silence or non-stop
uncomfortable
convo?
silence. Uncomfortable silence.
You prefer uncomfortable silence?
You missed the gag. We should have just looked at you.
Ask it again.
Yeah.
Doesn't work on radio, does it?
What is better, being nice or being fair?
Being fair. Yeah, without question. Yeah, back to my earlier point about weakness. If you allow people to fail too many times, you're being nice, but to them, not the children.
And my final question is, if you could do one thing to improve teacher well-being around the country now that isn't already being done or isn't being done enough, what would it be?
I would ring fence funding to create more space for teachers to plan. So reduce the contact time and actually build it in. This is additional money. Okay, but you did. We're dreaming here, right? So,
Yes.
So it's in my ideal
I mean,
scenario.
you could switch the funding from somewhere else.
You could, but I'm not saying that. Really.
Yeah.
No. I'm saying reduce the amount of contact time that teachers have and create a space where you then proactively plan together. Because I think that teaching's heavy on performance. It's exhausting. And the time to reflect and plan together with colleagues would really help practice. And I think that, we feel better when we're doing a good job. But also it gives us more time to concentrate on meeting the needs of the classes we've got. So that's the one thing I do.
I like it.
Okay, so we're dreaming. I'd take politics out of education. It's never going to happen, but the sheer amount of wasted time, effort, and money that is performed towards politicians and civil servants, and not in the interest of children, is the biggest problem in education. Difficulty is no government will give up the lever of control over education. You should just give control of education to a national body, arm's length from politicians. Define what good looks like and let teachers and school leaders get on with it. Be very clear about what success is and simple, not overly defined. Not these strong mat definitions, which is just going to lead to performative compliance. Cargo cults where people wave in the hope that planes come back.
Who are your listeners, Tom?
So we've actually had 500,000 downloads of our shows since launch last year. So this is going to be listened to. This is going to be a combo episode.
There you go.
Everything will be clipped together. Thanks for joining us. We're on. This was a live Teachers Talk Radio school leaders interview, the first of the day. We're going to have lots more over the course of the day on Stand 39. So if you're listening to this either now or recording on playback, come over to Stand 39. And I might ask you some of these. I might switch them around. Hugh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much, Nick, for coming over for this interview. Hello, everybody. Tom here. We are live on Teachers Talk Radio, and I am joined by Tom Quinn, the CEO of Frankfield Educational Trust. Frankfield being my former MP in sunny Birkenhead. So, I'm going to ask you 10 questions, Tom. It's going to challenge your very being.
I'll give it a go.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let me tweet this space out first so we can get a few people involved. All right, the first thing you grab in the morning.
Oh, my iPad.
What? No.
Yeah.
Dear. Who is your... what do you do on it? Check social media?
I read my newspaper for the day. I read the Scotsman newspaper online.
Okay.
There you go.
That's an interesting fact. Who is your biggest inspiration in life?
That would be Tony Benn.
Ah, good shout. That is a good shout. What do you think people notice about you?
That I'm Scottish.
And what do you hope people
Say again?
notice about, what do you hope people notice about you?
That I work hard for social justice.
Like it. Biggest weakness or fatal flaw?
That I stayed in one job too long.
Interesting. Is that a weakness though? Like, how do you judge too long?
I think sometimes you need to move on in life and challenge yourself at every juncture. So I think it's about knowing when's the right time to move and when's the right time to seek fresher challenges.
But as a Scotsman, Alex Ferguson seemed to stay in his job for quite a long time.
Well,
Did he outdo his time in his
So
job?
I remember Alex Ferguson was on the verge of being sacked. Do you remember that? You're probably too young for that.
I was too young for it when he was in trouble.
He was going to be sacked, and he was one defeat away from being sacked, and he kept on with his vision and his beliefs kept him going. But yeah,
Agreed.
A great
I mean,
manager.
I'm an Everton fan, but I respect him.
I'm
He's a great manager.
He played for the wrong team for me. I'm a Glasgow Celtic fan,
There you go.
so there you go.
Great manager, though. Biggest... biggest strength.
My team I work with, my
Oh,
people.
that's a nice thing to say. One personality trait you don't have time for.
I would say I don't have time for an excuse culture.
Interesting. What can you exemplify what that means?
I think that there's so many people in education that will blame something else for children not achieving the outcomes they should achieve. I think if you have the right systems, the right structures, the right people, then we can do anything with our children. So I don't believe that, for example, the pandemic is an excuse for children to fail. I think we have to work even harder to ensure children are successful.
My final question is about teacher wellbeing, because we're with Wellbe at the moment on stand 39. And my question is, what if you could do anything to support teacher wellbeing and you had a magic wand, what would it be?
Oh, it's a really simple one. 4-day week.
4-day week?
Yeah, I would enable students. Once upon a time, I tried this with my staff. I was a head teacher at school. I wanted to give staff the opportunity as a sort of long service recognition that they could have a sabbatical for 4 weeks. That were the month of July, they would be off and they could go and research abroad, and they could fulfill themselves. I've been to America, I've been to China, I've been to Finland, I've been to lots of educational establishments to look at how other schools do it. So that idea would be we would give people the opportunity to travel, do a little bit of research, recharge the batteries for 2 months, and then come back and then cascade it down. So if I was the education secretary, that's what I would do. I would have that for teachers. There you go. Can have that for free.
Hello everyone and welcome again to the CST conference in Birmingham, where Teachers Talk Radio are buzzing around this amazing environment, pulling people for random interviews about what they're doing. I'm now joined by Ruth from the Youth Sports Trust. She's the Senior Development Manager at the MAT Network. Ruth, do you want to tell us a little bit, in a nutshell, about what the Youth Sports Trust is?
So the Youth Sport Trust is a national charity, and we work with schools and organisations across the country, really trying to position the power of PE school sport to change the lives of young people.
And what is in terms of what you actually do on the ground, what do you do?
So we talk to educators, we talk to school leaders, and we work with government to really try and ensure that we can make young people's lives the best they can be. So how you can achieve your potential through being active, why being well is really important in your school, and trying to, and particularly in the context of this conference, why key sport and physical activity can help your school to create that sense of belonging and also serve a civic role, meeting the needs of your community.
And what do you think is the biggest challenge you've got in the UK at the moment to be able to do that?
So I think there's a huge challenge around the well-being of young people coming out of the pandemic, and they've seen lots of issues that have arisen, that we're seeing that young people are in a difficult place, and staff well-being is a really critical issue. But I think that it also provides us with an amazing opportunity to really build on some of the things that we've learned about why it's important to work together to position well-being at the heart of a school or a school trust.
That's brilliant. Ruth, thanks very much for the chat. Maybe catch you again at the event. I was muted. Hello everybody and welcome to Teachers Talk Radio live at the CST conference. I just realised I've muted myself, so I had to do the whole intro again. Welcome. I'm joined by Des Bird, who's Executive Head Teacher, and Kate Floyd, who is Head Teacher in the Cumbria Education Trust. Welcome.
Thank you.
And to start my questions, which you can both answer one after the other. Kate, we'll start with you. First thing you grab in the morning.
I actually grab my herbal tea because it keeps me quite grounded for the day.
Good. Des? Coffee. Lots of it. Des, who's your biggest inspiration in life?
My biggest inspiration in life is Nelson Mandela. I think he did a lot of amazing things in his lifetime.
And my biggest inspiration is, I'm going to go with my dad, because actually he's pushed me, he's taught me what to do in life. So yeah, my dad.
Kate, what do you think people notice about you?
I'm loud and I'm opinionated, but also I hope they know I'm kind.
Well, that was the next question, actually. What do people hope they notice about you?
And I know what I'm talking
You're
about.
kind. You did this interview, so
Yeah.
there you go.
When other people ran off.
Des, what do you think people notice about you? What do you hope people notice about you?
They definitely notice that I'm very loud and that I've got a Scottish accent, and I hope they think that I'm honest and genuine.
I like it. And, okay, this is to both of you again. Kate, we'll start with you. Biggest weakness or fatal flaw?
Underestimating myself.
Having a really bad temper.
Wow. Do you know that the previous person I interviewed, which you'll be able to listen to on the podcast later, said that their one personality trait they don't have time for, quote, was people who lose their temper?
Oh dear. I'll keep away from that person in the bar later.
One personality trait that you don't have time for?
People who mourn about workload.
Oof.
Controversial.
Why? Explain that one.
Because we all choose the profession, so we do get like generous holidays when you work around your workload. It's not about, you've got to work on workload, but don't mourn about it. Talk, change your practice, work smarter, but just don't mourn.
What if workload is high though, and if teachers say workload
No.
high?
What I'm saying is, yeah, workload is high, so you talk to your SLT, you have an open discussion, but you don't sit in the corridors or staff room mourning about it. You do something about it.
I don't like people who say one thing to one person and another to another. I like everyone to be straight, be upfront and be honest.
Okay. Comfortable silences or non-stop conversations?
Non-stop conversation.
Bit of both. Depends who you are. We've had a bit of both today.
We have. Yeah. What's better, being nice or being fair?
There.
Fair, definitely.
And the last question, if you had a magic wand and you could do anything for teacher well-being, what would it be?
Can I have two things?
It's not going to be talk about
I would create a 4-day week for all teachers.
Do you know what? You're not the
That's
first
not
person to
saying that children are at school less or kids that they're 5 days a week. 4-day week for teachers, and I would also look at energy cost bills for schools.
That is interesting. That's two interesting ones.
I would reduce the marking burden. I think that's a thing that we need to work on. We need to work on the effectiveness of that. That's what I would do.
I mean, there's a lack of evidence for it, isn't there? For the
It's
impact
just
of marking.
feedback, not marking. That's what we do.
Okay, I'm joining live once again at the CST conference in Birmingham for Teachers Talk Radio. I've been interviewing lots and lots of school leaders, find out a little bit more about them and how they're enjoying their day or not enjoying their day. Are you enjoying your day?
It's been okay so far, not too bad.
Do you want to introduce yourself first? Name?
Yes, my name's James Till and I'm head teacher at Turves Green Boys School and work for the Matrix Academy Trust.
Okay, and James, I hope you don't mind me saying this. You look like a young leader.
I think I might look a little bit younger. Might be the hair dye, perhaps. No, I'm certainly not that young.
But we've got to, we'll see how you get on. First thing you grab in the morning?
It must be the caffeine, a cup of tea to wake me up.
Biggest inspiration in life?
I've had a few inspirations, mainly going into teaching. It was notably a couple of teachers that pushed me down the route of going to university firstly and then going into education. But I'll give them a shout out. It was Justin Evans, my design technology teacher. He was a massive inspiration and the path that I took.
What school was that?
So that was a school in Warsaw called Manor Farm, which I believe now is closed. Nothing to do with me.
No.
But yeah, he was my design technology teacher, encouraged me to do engineering at university, and then this led to me becoming a teacher.
D&T?
Engineering and design technology, and ultimately me being the head teacher now many years down the line from that initial transition into teaching.
What do you think people know us about you?
notice about me in the school community?
No,
Hello
just in general.
and welcome. We are live
My
at the CST
young
conference
looks. I don't know,
2022,
that's what you
where I'm
noticed.
interviewing lots and lots of school leaders, trying to find out a
think it's
little bit
my,
more about them on behalf of Teachers
I
Talk
try
Radio.
to be
Now,
really honest and down to
you
earth.
might be listening
and,
back to this as a
say
podcast.
it as I
If
see
that's
it,
the
and I
case,
think that's
thank you
done me
very
good
much.
stead
You're
so
one
far.
of half a
So I'll
million
continue to
people
do
who've
that.
downloaded
And
the
if I
Teachers
see
Talk Radio
something,
show.
I mean,
Can
being
you
an
believe that
engineer
half a million people?
at heart,
not
I
believe
always
it.
try and see the
So,
efficiencies in things.
I've got
When I
5 people
did
here. I'm
work
going to
outside
just
school
run
before I
through
came
them
into
each.
teaching,
I just want your name
couldn't
and
believe
your
the
role, please.
inefficiencies in schools. So a big part of the work that I try to do is to get the most out of what you've got within the communities that we serve as well.
Biggest weakness or fatal flaw?
Lamy Khan, I'm CEO.
Biggest weakness, I'm a
Right,
stickler
people,
for,
I'm going to go round now with 10 questions,
detail.
relatively
Again,
quick
being
fire.
engineering,
You each have to answer
it's
it.
all about the process,
Round
making
like
the
that.
process
If you want to
correct,
pass, you
and
can
it
say
really-
pass.
I get
Don't want to
really
put too much
frustrated
pressure on anyone.
when
Are we ready?
I can't find
Okay,
a simple
first thing you
solution to
grab in the
problems.
morning. And biggest strength?
Biggest strength, I think I'm really good at working as a team, bringing people together and developing people. Because I work for a trust, I'm
Who
in the
is
game
your
of taking
biggest
over schools
inspiration
that are
in
failing.
life?
And
Brown,
sometimes you go in
CEO
there
of
and there
Leading
are,
Learners.
well, I say pockets, there are some really skillful
that's
staff there, but
nice.
have just not had the opportunities to shine. So I
Tom
think
Rogers,
identifying those
presenter on
strengths and
Teacher
then,
Talk Radio.
helping them grow and nurture them
Baloo the Bear.
and putting down the right path.
David Harrison, exec head of Leading
And
Learners.
one personality trait you
One
don't
of
have time
my
for.
secondary school teachers.
Arrogance.
Cool.
People who
Simon Grimshaw.
again, because I am
Cool.
relatively young to be a head teacher,
what do you
but,
think people
who've done the
notice
same job
about
for
you?
15 years, trying to say, oh, we've done this for 15 years, so why are we going to change? So it's the
Yeah,
arrogance and stuck in the ways of the old and not being progressive and actually looking for a better solution.
And if you had one thing, if you had a magic wand that you could change about teacher well-being,
Smile.
what would it be?
My
For
back
teacher
repair.
well-being,
I
one
think
thing
for
you do.
teacher wellbeing, it's
expression
listening to the
time.
teaching community. You know, we are
Biggest
we're intelligent people.
biggest
we know what we're
weakness
doing,
and
we're
fatal
on the
flaw.
chalk face of day to day in
I
schools,
talk too much.
but sometimes we just don't feel like we are listened to and we're done to, and we have to work within the frameworks of what we're told to do, and that just makes our job a lot more difficult. And yeah, it's just giving us more autonomy to do what we do best.
James, thanks ever so much.
No problem.
In a spontaneous. Articulacy, I said.
It's a game that people play at Christmas. Articulacy. Next one. One personality trait that you don't have any time for.
Arrogance.
Ditto.
Yeah, and I would add in incompetence.
Lies. All about the honesty. Honesty. No, as in lies is the one I don't like. Honesty is good. I like honesty.
Arrogance.
All most saying the same thing, apart from him who said honesty. Comfortable silences or non-stop conversations.
Non-stop conversations.
Yeah, non-stop conversations.
Really?
Yeah.
Comfortable silences.
Comfortable silences.
Non-stop conversations.
Interesting. What is better, being nice or being fair?
Being fair.
Yeah, being fair.
Fairly nice.
Fair.
Last one, which is a bit more teachery. If you had a magic wand, what's one thing that you would do to improve teacher well-being across the country?
Increase budgets to have more staff, so staff had more non-contact time.
Tough question. Somehow reduce teacher workload without diminishing expectations on them.
Yeah, modernise teaching methods to reduce workload.
Adequate funding to meet the needs of all the children.
Have leaders in place like we do, where they realise on the ground the importance of teaching and having experience, so then you can manage their expectations on your own.
Perfect. Guys, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for joining Teachers Talk Radio. This will be on the podcast, which you'll all be able to listen back to.
You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live and listen back at ttradio.org. We look forward to hearing from you next time on Teachers Talk Radio.